The small rescue ship moved like a tired animal through the dark. Its engines made a low, steady hum, but space around it was silent and cold. The place Ethan Hale had entered was marked on old maps with one clear warning: dead zone. No trade routes. No rescue beacons. No reason to be here unless something had gone wrong. Ethan did not like wrong places. He was not a soldier. He was not a hero on a poster. He was a single human dad who fixed ships for a living and took small jobs that kept food on the table back home. He had learned to avoid trouble the way a parent avoids fire. See it early, step away, keep moving. But trouble did not always ask for permission. A sharp beat cut through the ship's quiet. Ethan looked up from the console. The screen showed a signal line that should not exist here. It flickered like a weak candle in a storm. He leaned closer. "That can't be real," he said, though no one was there to answer. The radio crackled again. A sound came through, broken and thin. It was not a clear message, not words he could understand at first. Then it came again, louder for a second. Two voices. Not adults. Not confident. Small voices. Tight with fear. Ethan's fingers froze above the controls. His mind went to his kid at home. Small hands. Sleepy eyes, the way they clung to his shirt when they had a bad dream. The thought hit him hard, like a punch under the ribs. He took a slow breath and ran a scan. The signal was not from a big ship. It was from a tiny source, drifting near a field of frozen debris. Metal chunks rotated slowly, glittering like broken teeth. Ethan's ship turned toward it. The closer he got, the clearer the scan became. Escape pod. Damage. Low power. Life signs. 2. His stomach tightened. Escape pods did not end up in a dead zone by accident. And pods did not drift alone unless something had eaten the ship they came from. Ethan clicked the external lights on. White beams cut through the dark and touched the pod. It was half buried in ice and twisted metal, pinned like a bug in a web. Then he saw the mark on its side. A jagged symbol, burned into the pod skin. A skull shape with a hooked line across it. Ethan knew it. Everyone who worked the outer lanes knew it. Pirate clan mark. He sat back, eyes hard. "No," he whispered. "Not that." His hand moved to the throttle, ready to turn away. Because pirate problems did not end with one rescue. Pirate problems came with a knife behind the smile. Pirate problems followed you home. And Ethan had a home. He had a child who waited for him. He stared at the pod again. The radio crackled, and this time a few words came through in broken trade language. "Please, help, cold, please." Another voice, weaker, "Not leave." Ethan shut his eyes for 1 second. He saw his child again, and the choice became heavy and simple at the same time. He could leave. He could tell himself it was not his job. He could survive. Or he could open that pod and take whatever came after. He swore under his breath, then pushed the ship forward. "All right," he said, voice low. "All right, I'm coming." He suited up in a thin EVA layer and locked his tether line. He did not take a big weapon, just a cutter tool and a small sharp baton. He did not expect a fight. He feared a trap. But if it was a trap, he wanted his hands free and his mind clear. The airlock opened. Cold darkness swallowed him as he stepped out. His boots tapped against metal as he pulled himself across the debris. The pod was close now. Frost covered its window like a blind eye. He knocked twice on the hull. "Can you hear me?" he called into his helmet MIC. A faint tapping answered from inside, fast and scared. "Okay," Ethan said. "I'm going to cut the door. Stay back. Don't touch it." No answer, but the tapping stopped like the voices were listening. He pressed the heated cutter to the seam. The metal fought him. It hissed and smoked as it melted, and ice slid down in glittering flakes. Ethan worked slowly, careful not to punch through too fast. The pod could still have pressure inside. A bad cut could hurt whoever was trapped. The seam finally gave. With a sharp pull, the hatch shifted. The door opened just enough for cold air to rush out. Ethan braced himself, then pulled it wider. Two faces stared at him from inside. Orc faces. Green-gray skin. Wide eyes. Small tusks that looked too sharp for children, but the bodies inside were not large. Young. Thin. Shaking in tight blankets. They were sisters. Ethan could tell right away. Same heavy brow line. Same deep-set eyes. But one was older, with a hard look that tried to pretend it was not afraid. The other was younger, cheek streaked with dried tears. They flinched as the light hit them. Ethan did not move fast. He kept his hands open. "Hey," he said, gentle. "You're okay. I'm not here to hurt you." The older one stared like she expected a trick. Her hand moved in front of the younger sister, protective even in weakness. The younger sister whispered something in Orc tongue, then tried trade language again. "Human?" "Yes," Ethan said. "Human. Ethan." The older one swallowed. "Help, please." Ethan's chest tightened. "I've got you." He checked their wrists and necks with his scanner. 2 life signs, both low but stable. Frostbite risk. Dehydration. No bleeding he could see. That was good. Then his scanner beeped again, one harsh warning tone. "Unknown bioscan. Restricted species. Report required." Ethan cursed softly. Some ports had rules about orcs. Some ports had hate. Some ports had both. If he took them in openly, the wrong person could report them. And pirate bounty hunters did not ask for permission. He looked at the pirate mark again and felt cold in his blood. "You can't stay here," he said. "I'm taking you to my ship." The older sister's eyes widened. "Pirates hunt." "I know," Ethan said, "but I'm not a pirate." He reached for the younger one first. She flinched hard, but he paused and waited. He let her see his face through the helmet glass. "It's okay," he said. "Slow." The younger one nodded once, small and quick. Ethan lifted her carefully, like he had lifted his own child when they fell asleep on the couch. She was lighter than she should be. The older one climbed out after, limping. She tried to hide the limp. It did not work. Ethan guided both of them back to the airlock. Inside the ship, warm air wrapped around them like a blanket. The sisters breathed it in like they had been drowning. Ethan moved fast now, not rough, but firm. He took them into a storage bay that had no cameras. He pulled out clean thermal wraps and handed them water packs. "Drink," he said. "Small sips." The younger sister drank too fast and coughed. Ethan steadied her shoulder. "Easy. You're safe for a minute." The older sister took the water but did not drink. Her eyes moved around the room, counting exits, listening for footsteps that were not there. Ethan understood that look. He had seen it in animals that had been hurt. He had seen it in kids who learned early that adults could be dangerous. He kept his voice soft. "What are your names?" The older one hesitated. Then, like it caused her pain, she said, "Raka." The younger one whispered, "Myra." "Raka, Myra," Ethan repeated. "All right, I'm going to get you out of this zone. Then we figure out what comes next." Raka's jaw tightened. "They follow." Ethan walked back to the cockpit and pulled up the rear scan. His screen showed nothing for a long second. Then a shadow moved at the edge of range. Not a rock, not debris. Something shaped, controlled, careful. A ship with its lights off. Ethan's throat went dry. He shut the bay door, locked it, then returned to the console. His fingers flew across keys. He did not punch the throttle yet. He waited, watching, thinking. A pirate ship could be faster. It could be armed. Ethan's rescue ship was small and old, built for quick runs and salvage, not war. If they got close, he would not win a fight. So he did what he always did when life got sharp. He planned. He plotted a short jump to the nearest outpost, Port Kestrel, a rough place but busy enough to hide in noise. He set his ship to drift, slow and natural, like he had not seen anything. He cut his lights down. He reduced engine output so the trail was weak. Then, when the shadow ship angled closer, Ethan fired the jump drive. Space folded. The stars stretched. The ship shook. And in the storage bay, Myra screamed. Ethan held the ship steady through the jump, jaw clenched hard. He came out near Port Kestrel's outer ring. Radio chatter filled the cockpit, loud and messy. Traders, dock crews, patrol drones, arguments over fees. It sounded like safety, but Ethan knew better. Busy places had more eyes. More eyes meant more danger for 200 kids. He turned toward docking and forced his voice calm as he answered the port's request. "Rescue Ship Hail 7, he said, "requesting short-term dock and fuel." Port Control replied, "Board. Dock Lane 3. Pay first." Ethan paid. As the ship moved into Lane 3, Ethan glanced at a public screen outside the port gate. Bright posters rolled past, advertisements and warnings. One poster stopped him cold. A rough sketch of two orc girls, one older, one younger. Under it, bold words. Wanted. Return alive. High pay. Ethan's hands tightened on the controls until his knuckles hurt. Behind him, from the storage bay, he heard a small sound, a choke of fear. He turned and saw Raka standing in the doorway, staring at the poster through the small window. Myra was behind her, shaking so hard her teeth clicked. Raka's voice came out as a whisper, sharp with panic. "They are here." Ethan swallowed, mind racing. He had brought them to a port, and the port was already waiting for them. Myra grabbed Raka's arm and whispered, eyes wide like a trapped animal, "If they take us, they will kill everyone here." Ethan looked at the poster, then at the two sisters, and he understood, deep and clear, that the rescue should not have worked. Because the moment he opened that pod, he had stepped into a chase that did not end with money. It ended with blood. Ethan shut off the docking request, backed the ship out of Lane 3, and whispered only one line, simple and firm like a promise. "Then we don't let them take you." Ethan did not dock. He kept the ship moving, slow and calm, like he belonged in the traffic. Around him, Port Kestrel was loud with lights and signals. Cargo tugs drifted like fat insects. Patrol drones swept in simple patterns. Voices filled the open channel, arguing, joking, cursing, trading. Ethan stayed quiet. He did not want his ship to stand out. Behind him, in the storage bay, Myra's breathing came in small, fast pulls. Raka stood in front of her like a shield, even though she was limping. Ethan spoke through the intercom, gentle but firm. "Stay in the bay. No sound. I will handle this." Raka answered right away. "They will scan." "I know," Ethan said. "I have a plan." He did not fully have a plan yet. He had pieces. A parent's brain worked like that. When danger came, it grabbed anything useful and built a wall fast. He moved his ship into a low-service lane near old repair docks, where the cameras were fewer and the workers did not ask questions if you paid. He bought a short-term maintenance slot using a fake salvage tag. The system accepted it. Port Kestrel did not care as long as credits arrived. A dock worker pinged him. "Hey, 07, you docking or what?" Ethan put on a tired voice. "Engine heat issue. Need 10 minutes. The worker laughed. "Everybody got heat issues. Don't block the lane." Ethan eased the ship into a shadowed corner behind a stack of scrap containers. It was not safe, but it was quieter than the main lanes. Then he did something he hated. He turned off the ship's public ID beacon. Illegal. Also necessary. He watched the radar. The shadow ship from the dead zone did not show up here. That did not mean it was gone. Pirates like to move like a knife in the dark. Close, silent, patient. Ethan took a breath and opened the storage bay door. Raka flinched, shoulders tight, eyes hard. Myra stayed behind her, small hands gripping the wrap around her neck. Ethan kept his hands visible. "We are not staying on the ship. Not here. Too many scans." Raka's eyes narrowed. "Where go?" "Ground level," Ethan said. "Old worker blocks. Cheap rooms. No questions." Myra swallowed. "People hate orcs." "I know," Ethan said. "So we hide. And we move fast." He gave them both hooded jackets from his locker. The jackets were too big, but that helped. He pulled the hoods up, then handed Myra a small breathing filter. Myra stared at it like she did not trust gifts. "It's just air help," Ethan said. "Nothing else." Raka took it and placed it on Myra herself, careful and protective. Ethan noticed how Raka's fingers shook for half a second before she hit it. The older sister was trying very hard to look brave. Ethan understood that too. Kids did that when they thought being scared made them weak. He led them out through a service hatch and into the port's lower walkways. Down here, the lights were dim. Pipes ran along the walls. The air smelled like metal and oil. Workers moved with heavy boots, faces tired, eyes mostly down. Nobody looked twice at three figures in hooded jackets. Ethan kept his pace steady. He did not run. Running made people look. Raka stayed close, limping but refusing help. Myra stayed even closer to Raka, like she was tied to her by an invisible rope. As they passed a security checkpoint, Ethan felt his heart thump hard. 2 guards stood beside a scanner gate. The scanner's light swept people from head to toe. Ethan slowed and stepped toward the guard first, blocking the sisters with his body. The guard looked up. ID. Ethan handed over his work card. The guard scanned it. Bored. Reason for entry. Repair run, Ethan said. Need parts from the lower market. The guard's eyes moved to the figures behind Ethan. Who are they? Ethan forced a small laugh. Crew. New kids. They don't talk much. The guard stayed a beat longer, then shrugged. Keep moving. The scanner light brushed their jackets, but Ethan had turned the jackets inside out. The lining had thin scrap foil layers. Not a real shield, but enough to blur a quick scan in a busy lane. Ethan's hand stayed relaxed, even though his stomach felt like ice. They passed through. Only when they turned a corner did Ethan let out a quiet breath. Myra whispered, "Human, you smart." Ethan gave a small nod. Just tired. They reached the worker blocks, stacked metal apartments built for short stays and long shifts. The hallways smelled like old food and hot wiring. The rental machine took cash and did not ask names. Ethan rented one small room for a week. Inside, it was cramped, 1 bed, 1 chair, a tiny wash unit, a small heat vent that rattled. But the door had a lock. The walls were thick enough to cut sound. Ethan checked the vent. He checked the window. He checked the room for hidden cameras. He did not find any, but he still placed a strip of tape over a small corner in the ceiling just in case. Then he sat on the chair and looked at the sisters. "All right," he said. "Water. Food. Then talk." Myra sat on the floor near the bed, knees pulled to her chest. Raka stayed standing until Ethan pointed to the bed. "Sit," Ethan said. "Your leg." Raka hesitated, then sat, jaw tight. She did not like being told what to do. Ethan did not push. He just stayed calm. He took out protein packs and placed them on the small table. Myra stayed at the food. She did not reach for it. Ethan noticed something. "You can eat. No one is taking it." Myra's eyes flicked to Raka. Raka's face was blank, but her hands were clenched. Ethan felt anger rise in him, anger at whoever had taught them that food was a trap. He kept his voice gentle. "I'm not your enemy." Raka said nothing. Ethan opened the pack and took the first bite himself. Slow, normal. Then he pushed another pack toward Myra. Myra reached out like she expected pain. When nothing happened, she took it and ate in tiny bites. Raka waited until Myra was eating before she took one too. Ethan watched that and understood something important. Raka would starve before she let Myra starve. That kind of loyalty was not small. It came from love, and sometimes from fear. After a few minutes, Ethan asked, "Why were you in a pirate pod?" Raka's eyes turned sharp. "Not pirate." "The symbol says pirate," Ethan replied. Raka glanced at Myra, then back to Ethan. "Stolen pod." "From who?" Raka's throat moved. "From them." Myra whispered, "Clan, Black Hook." Ethan's spine went stiff. He knew that name. Everyone did. Black Hook ships its small convoys, sold people, burned record logs, vanished into dead space. Ethan kept his voice even. "They want you back." Raka nodded once. Her eyes stayed hard, but her voice was small. "Yes." "Why alive?" Ethan asked. "Bounty posters say alive." Myra's hand shook. She touched the wrap around her neck without thinking, then stopped as if she had made a mistake. Raka saw it and pulled Myra's hands down fast. Ethan noticed. He pretended he did not, but he filed it away. Neck wraps were not fashion. They were hiding something. Ethan leaned forward. "Listen, I did not save you to sell you, but if you keep secrets, I can't protect you. So I need the truth." Raka's jaw tightened. "Truth gets people killed." "Maybe," Ethan said, "but lies also get people killed." Myra looked at Ethan, eyes wet. "We run. Always run." Ethan felt a heartache in his chest. "Not anymore." Raka's eyes narrowed. You cannot say that. I can, Ethan said, because I choose what I do. Raka stared at him like she did not understand that idea. In her world, choice was probably a thing only strong people had. Ethan stood and walked to the door. He pressed his ear against it. Quiet. No footsteps. He returned and took out a small handheld comm scanner from his bag. He turned it on. The device showed a list of local signals, rentals, food ads, workers chatting, security pings. Then he saw something else. A burst signal repeating every few minutes on a private band. Ethan's eyes tightened. They are searching. Raka's shoulders stiffened. I told you. Ethan looked at the sisters. Okay, we don't stay, but we also don't run blind. He pulled up Port Kestrel's public map on his wrist screen. There's a medical clinic in the lower market. Not official. They do quiet scans. If I pay, maybe they tell me how to block your biosignature. Raka shook her head fast. No clinics. We need options, Ethan said. We need something. Myra whispered, Fixer? Ethan's eyes flicked up. What fixer? Raka hesitated, then spoke like she was swallowing glass. There's a man. He finds papers. Hides people. Ethan did not like the word man in that sentence. People who hide people often also sell people. But he did not have many doors left. What's his name? Ethan asked. Raka said, Vex. Ethan knew the type. Every port had a Vex. Smooth voice. Dirty hands. Always smiling. Ethan stood again. All right. We do this carefully. We meet in public. We don't follow him anywhere. If anything feels wrong, we leave. Raka watched him like she was measuring him. You are human, she said. You should walk away. Ethan met her eyes. I have a kid at home. I know what it means when a child is scared. I won't walk away. For a second, Raka's hard face cracked. Not much. Just a tiny shift like pain flashing under stone. Then it was gone. Ethan packed fast. He gave Myra the hood again. He checked the hallway through the door crack. Clear. They moved out and down to the lower market. The market was a long tunnel with stalls built into the walls. Lights blinked. Sellers shouted. Steam rose from food grills. The noise made it easier to hide. Ethan chose a spot near a broken fountain, right under a public cam. Not because he trusted the cam, because criminals avoided places that recorded clearly. A man leaned on a stool nearby, wearing a clean coat in a dirty place. His hair was slick. His smile came easy. He was looking right at Ethan. Mr. Hale, the man said, like they were old friends. You are lost. Ethan did not like that the man knew his name. Ethan stepped forward, blocking the sisters. You're Vex. Vex spread his hands. Depends who asks. Ethan kept his voice flat. I want papers. Quiet travel. No questions. Vex's eyes slid past Ethan, trying to see the hoods behind him. That depends on what you carry. Ethan's fingers tightened. Just cargo. Vex chuckled softly. Sure. Cargo with hearts. Raka shifted behind Ethan, tension rising in her shoulders. Vex leaned closer, voice lowering. I can help. I can make the port forget you. But it costs. How much? Ethan asked. Vex smiled wider. Not credits. Ethan's skin went cold. Then what? Vex's eyes glittered. A favor. A simple meeting with some very interested people. Ethan understood right then. Vex was not a door out. Vex was a trap with a pretty face. Ethan took a slow step back. No deal. Vex sighed like Ethan was disappointing him. Then you will not last a night. Ethan's eyes flicked around the market. Too many strangers. Too many hands. He felt the danger closing, soft and hidden. He turned to leave. And at that moment, a security drone floated into the tunnel, scanning the crowd with a bright blue beam. Vex raised his voice, sweet and loud. Officer, I think that man has illegal cargo. Ethan's blood turned to fire. He grabbed Myra's hand, then reached back for Raka's sleeve. Move, he said. They pushed into the crowd. Behind them, the drone scan beam widened. Raka hissed, panic sharp. It will see. Ethan's mind raced, fast and clear. He had seconds. He spotted a maintenance door half open beside a vendor stall. He yanked it wider and shoved the sisters inside. They fell into a narrow service hall. Ethan slammed the door and locked it with a manual latch. The drone's beam swept the door from outside. It paused. Ethan held his breath. Inside the hall, Myra's eyes were wide with terror. Raka's hand went to her neck wrap again. Ethan grabbed Raka's wrist. Not hard, just enough to stop her. Raka froze, eyes blazing. Ethan whispered, "If there is something you are hiding, I need to know." Raka's breathing was heavy. Her gaze flicked to Myra. Then, for a split second, her neck wrap shifted. Ethan saw it, a faint glow under the skin. A thin mark like a line of light, pulsing once, like a heartbeat made of color. Raka's hand snapped back, covering it. Her voice came out low and urgent. "If you know, you must run." Outside the door, the drone made a sharp alert sound, and Ethan realized part one had not ended at the rescue. It had only started. The service hall was narrow and cold. It smelled like dust, old wires, and metal water pipes. The blue scan light from the drone leaked under the door in short flashes, like lightning in a storm. Ethan kept his body between the sisters and the door. He stayed very still, listening. Outside, the drone made a sharp clicking sound. It was thinking. It was checking. Myra covered her mouth with both hands so her breathing would not be heard. Her eyes were wide and wet. Raka's jaw was tight, and her hand was locked around the wrap on her neck, like it was holding her life in place. Ethan spoke in a whisper, calm but firm. "No noise. No panic. We wait." Raka stared at him like she wanted to argue, but she did not. She just nodded once. The drone clicked again, then drifted away. The blue light faded. For a moment, the hole was only dim yellow, lit by a single broken strip light overhead. Ethan let out a slow breath. His heart was still beating hard, but he did not show it. He looked at Raka. "That glow, what is it?" Raka's eyes flashed. "Nothing." Ethan did not move. He kept his voice even. "It's not nothing." It lit up like a signal. Myra's shoulders shook. She whispered, "Raka." Raka did not look at her sister. She kept her eyes on Ethan, and her face was like stone. Ethan chose his next words carefully. He had learned that kids who lived through fear did not respond to shouting. They responded to safety and clear rules. He lowered his voice. "I'm not asking to hurt you. I'm asking so I can protect you." Raka swallowed. "Protect?" she repeated, like the word was strange. "Yes," Ethan said, "because right now we are in a port full of scanners. And a fixer just tried to sell us. And a drone almost found you. If that mark is the reason, I need to know." Raka's eyes shifted for half a second. Not fear, not anger, guilt. Myra stepped closer, small hands trembling. "Human Dad, please." Ethan's chest tightened at the words. He did not correct her. He just nodded slowly. "Tell me." Raka's shoulders rose and fell once, like she was carrying something heavy. Then she spoke, quiet and sharp. "It is a bond mark." Ethan frowned. "Bond, like family." Raka's eyes hardened. "Like chain." Myra's voice came out soft. "They put it on us." Ethan kept his face calm, but inside, anger burned. "Who?" Raka said one name, and it felt like ice. "Black Hook." Myra looked down. "Pirate clan. They take people. They test people." Ethan's fingers curled into a fist, then relaxed again. He did not want the sisters to see his rage. Rage could scare kids too. He asked, "What does a mark do?" Raka hesitated. She stared at Ethan like she was measuring if he deserved the truth. Then she said, "It is a key." Ethan stared. "A key to what?" Myra whispered, "Old place. Old door." Raka spoke again, faster now, like the words were trying to escape her mouth before she could stop them. They said, "Ancient vault." They said it sleeps. They said it needs our blood and our mark. Ethan's throat went dry. "So the pirates want you because you can open something." Myra nodded, eyes filling. "Yes." Ethan took a slow breath. "Why you? Why two sisters?" Raka's voice lowered. "Because we survived." Ethan did not like that answer. It sounded like death around it. He asked, "How did you get away?" Myra glanced at Raka, then answered, broken trade language but clear enough. "We were on ship. Lab room. They watch. They hurt. Raka hitman with tool. Alarms. Smoke. We run. We steal pod." Raka added, "They chased. Pod damaged. We drift. Cold. No power." Ethan pictured it. 2 young orc girls running through a pirate ship, alarms screaming, metal holes shaking. One mistake and they would be caught, punished, maybe worse. He felt sick. Ethan nodded once. "Okay, I believe you." Raka blinked, surprised. "You believe?" Ethan met her eyes. "Yes, and now I understand why they will not stop." Myra's voice shook. "We did not want trouble." Ethan's voice softened. "I know." For a moment, the hole was quiet. Then Ethan heard a new sound. Boots. Not drones. Real boots. Heavy, steady, coming from the market side. Ethan moved fast. He guided them deeper into the service hall. The corridor ended at a maintenance ladder. He looked up. "We go up." Raka frowned. "Where?" "Old pipe level," Ethan said. "Less traffic. More exits." They climbed. Ethan went first, then Myra, then Raka. Raka's limp made her slow, but she did not ask for help. Ethan stayed close behind anyway, ready to catch her if she slipped. At the top, a hatch opened into a dark catwalk space above the market. Pipes ran like veins across the ceiling. Steam hissed from a crack joint, making a soft fog. They crawled along the catwalk until they reached a side platform with a small maintenance room. Ethan opened it and slipped inside. The room was tiny and smelled like old grease. But it had one important thing, a small access panel with a port terminal. Ethan pulled out his toolkit. "I need to check something." Raka watched him, tense. "No time." "There is time," Ethan said. "Not much, but enough." He connected his wrist screen to the terminal. Lines of data rolled past. Port security routes. Drone scan schedules. Wanted posters and bounty boards. Then he saw it. The bounty listing for 2 orc females had a special tag. Return alive. High pay. Vault signature priority. Ethan's eyes narrowed. Vault signature. That means the port security knows about this. Or someone paid them to care. Myra whispered, "They will search all." Ethan nodded. "Yes." He disconnected and thought fast. He had 2 choices. Leave the port now, risking a chase in open space, or find a way to erase the sister skin's signature so they could move like ghosts. Ethan hated both options, but he needed something better than panic. He asked, "Is a mark always glowing?" Raka shook her head. "Only when near scanners, or when fear, or when it wakes." Ethan stared. "It reacts to fear." Myra looked down. "When we scared, it pulses." Ethan felt cold again. That meant the mark was not just a scar. It was a living thing, or a machine under skin. Something that listened to their bodies. He said, "We need to stop it from pulsing." Raka's eyes narrowed. "How?" Ethan answered honestly, "I don't know yet." He stood, paced 2 steps, then stopped. "We need help. Medical help. Quiet scan. Not official." Raka shook her head hard. "No clinics." Ethan pointed to his own chest. "Listen, I do not trust clinics either. But right now, this port is hunting you. If we go to my ship without cover, a scan at the gate will catch you, and the pirates may already be watching my ship." Myra whispered, "Vex will tell." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Yes, so we change plans. We find someone else." Raka stared at him. "Who?" Ethan thought of the lower market. Not Vex. Not security. He needed someone who hated pirates enough to help, or someone who loved money but not human suffering. Then Ethan remembered something from an old job years ago. A back-alley clinic run by a woman who used to fix miners after accidents. She did not like questions. She did not like pirates. She liked clean deals. Ethan said, "There's a clinic called Red Lantern. Not official. They do bodywork. "Oh, doctor." Raka's eyes sharpened. "Trap." "Maybe," Ethan said, "but it's a better risk than Vex." Myra looked up. "If they see Neck." "They won't," Ethan said. "We control the room. We control the door. If it feels wrong, we leave." Raka did not answer, but she did not refuse either. They moved again, using upper catwalks and side ladders, staying out of the main market lanes. Ethan led them like he was guiding his child through a crowded street, always scanning, always counting exits, always keeping them close. After 10 minutes, they reached a quiet block with faded signs and broken lights. The door to Red Lantern was plain metal with a red strip painted across it. Ethan knocked 3 times. A small camera lens clicked on. A voice came through, flat and tired. "Closed." Ethan leaned toward the lens. "It's Ethan Hale, Engine Tech. I paid you one for a burn patch on Dock 12. Silence. Then the door buzzed and opened a crack. A woman's eyes appeared. Older, sharp, not kind, but not cool. She looked Ethan up and down. "You bring trouble." Ethan nodded. "Yes." Her eyes slid past him, catching the 2 hooded figures. "And secrets." Ethan swallowed. "Yes." The woman sighed. 1 minute. She opened the door wide and waved them inside fast. "Hood, stay on. No noise." Inside, the clinic was dim and smelled like disinfectant and hot plastic. Old medical tools hung on the walls. A scan bed sat in the corner. The woman locked the door behind them. "Name's Dr. Sarah. You have 30 seconds to tell me why I shouldn't throw you out." Ethan spoke quickly. 2 miners, hunted by pirates. They have something under the skin that triggers scanners. I need to block it. Dr. Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Pirates." Raka's shoulders rose. Myra trembled. Dr. Sarah looked at them for a long moment. Then she muttered, "I hate pirates." She pointed to the scan bed. "One at a time." Raka stepped forward, protective. "Myra first." Myra looked like she might faint. Ethan held her elbow gently. "You're okay. I'm right here." Myra lay down. Dr. Sarah moved the scanner wand over her neck area. The scanner beeped once, then beeped again, louder. Dr. Sarah froze. Ethan's stomach dropped. "What is it?" Dr. Sarah's eyes widened, and for the first time her voice lost its calm. "This is not a simple implant." She turned the screen toward Ethan. On it, a pattern glowed like a map. Fine lines under the skin, twisting in a shape that looked like a symbol in a circuit at the same time. Then the screen flashed a warning Ethan had never seen on a civilian scanner. Ancient Vault signature. Active. Ethan's mouth went dry. "Ancient Vault." Dr. Sarah whispered, "Where did you find them?" Before Ethan could answer, Myra's neck mark pulsed under the wrap. Not faint now, bright enough to show through fabric. Myra gasped, eyes rolling back. "It's waking." Raka rushed to her sister's side. "Myra." Ethan grabbed a water pack, but Myra's body went stiff. The glow pulsed again, slow and steady, like a beacon sending a signal into space. Dr. Sarah snapped, "Turn off your comms. Now." Ethan slapped his comm system to dead mode. Too late. Outside, far down the hall, Ethan heard heavy boots and metal clicks. More than one person, moving with purpose. Dr. Sarah's face went pale. "Someone is coming." Raka's eyes went wild with fear, and her voice came out raw. "I told you. Truth kills." Ethan looked at the glowing mark under Myra's wrap, and understood the worst part. The sisters were not just being hunted. They were broadcasting. He stepped closer, voice low and steady like a promise, even as danger approached the door. "Then we stopped the signal," Ethan said. The clinic lights flickered once, and the lock on the front door started to buzz, like someone was forcing it open. The clinic door shook once. Not a polite knock, not a mistake. A hard, metal on metal, followed by the ugly buzz of a lock being forced. Dr. Sarah's eyes snapped to Ethan. "Back room. Now." Raka grabbed Myra, trying to lift her, but Myra's legs did not work right. She was awake, but her face was pale, and the glow under her neck wrap pulsed like a slow alarm. Ethan moved fast. He slid an arm under Myra's shoulder. I've got her! Raka's jaw clenched. I carry. You guide, Ethan said. Show the way. Dr. Sayre pulled a curtain aside and pushed open a thin door behind a shelf of medical packs. A narrow hallway lay beyond, darker and colder than the clinic. Storage and service tunnel, Dr. Sayre said. It connects to the old water line. Another hit the front door. This time, the whole frame rattled. A voice called out from the hallway outside, calm and loud. Open up. Port security. Dr. Sayre muttered, liar. Ethan's heart hammered, but his hand stayed steady. He helped Myra through the back door. Raka followed, eyes sharp and angry. Dr. Sayre shut the door and locked it with a simple metal bar. Ethan heard the front lock finally give. The clinic door swung open with a loud clang. Boots stepped inside. Not port security boots. Too heavy. Too sure. A male voice spoke, smooth like oil. Dr. Sayre, you always pick the wrong friends. Dr. Sayre didn't answer. She held her breath like she was waiting for a storm to pass. Ethan and the sisters were in the back hall now. The air was thick with dust. Pipes ran along the walls. A single emergency light glowed red. Myra's glow pulsed again, and her breathing turned shallow. Ethan whispered, Myra, look at me. Breathe slow. Myra tried. Her eyes found his, and she nodded weakly. Raka's voice was tight. They will find us. Ethan nodded. Not if we move smart. He looked ahead. The hole split. Left to a ladder, right to a low-crawl tunnel. Raka pointed left. Up. Old pipe level. Ethan chose left. Higher ground meant more exits, and it was harder for armored hunters to follow fast. They climbed. Myra was light, but Ethan's arms burned. He kept going. He did not complain. Parents learned to carry weight without making a show of it. At the top, a hatch opened into a maintenance space above the block. Metal beams. Thick pipes. Vents that breathed warm air. The noise of the port was distant here, like a sea far away. Ethan guided them along the narrow platform. Below, through gaps in the floor grates, Ethan saw movement. People spreading through the block. Not workers. Hunters. They wore dark armor without port badges. Some carried compact rifles. Some held scan wands. And they moved like they knew exactly what they were looking for. Ethan's skin went cold. They're not guessing, he whispered. They have your signal. Raka's eyes flashed with shame and fear. It wakes when scared. Ethan kept his voice low. Then we control fear. We stay calm. Raka stared at him like that was impossible. Ethan did not blame her. Fear was not a switch. But he had done this before, with a child crying in the night, with bills that could not be paid, with a broken engine in a storm. He had learned one thing. You could not stop fear by fighting it. You stopped fear by giving it something else to hold on to. He turned to Myra. Listen, you are not alone. I'm here. Raka is here. We're moving. That's all you need to do. One step at a time. Myra's eyes watered. She whispered, Okay. The glow under her wrap dimmed a little, like it heard the calm in his voice. Ethan exhaled quietly. Good. Not perfect, but better. They reached a vent access panel. Ethan popped it open with his tool and looked inside. A wide ventilation shaft ran toward the ship repair district. Ethan nodded. We take this. Raka frowned. Small. I know, Ethan said. That's the point. He went first, sliding into the vent on his elbows. The metal was cold, and dust stuck to his gloves. Myra followed, then Raka. Behind them, a loud bang echoed through the maintenance base. Someone had opened a hatch below. Voices rose. Signals close. Spread out. Ethan's pulse spiked, but he kept crawling. They moved through the vent for several minutes. The shaft sloped down, then split into two. Ethan stopped and listened. From the left, faint voices and footsteps. From the right, only the low hum of fans. Ethan chose right. They reached a vent grate that looked down into a narrow alley between repair hangars. Dim quiet, a place workers used to dump scrap. Ethan pushed the grate out and dropped down lightly. He turned and helped Myra down, then Raka. Raka's boots hit the floor, and she winced. Her leg was worse now. Ethan glanced at her. Can you walk? Raka nodded too fast. Yes. Ethan did not argue. He simply moved closer, ready to support her when needed. They started down the alley. Then Ethan froze. At the far end, a man stood under a yellow light. Tall, still, wearing a simple coat, but his posture screamed threat. His eyes were calm, and his hands rested behind his back like he owned the place. He smiled. Ethan recognized that kind of smile. Not friendly, not cruel, controlled. The man spoke in clear trade language. Human, you are carrying what belongs to us. Raka's whole body tensed. Myra shrank back. Ethan stepped forward, blocking them. Who are you? The man tilted his head. A collector. Ethan's mind raced. This was not random. This was a cut-off. They had been guided into a funnel. The collector took a slow step forward. Hand them over. You can go. You get to keep breathing. Good deal. Ethan's jaw tightened. No. The collector's smile faded slightly, like Ethan had broken a rule. Think of your child, human. Ethan's stomach dropped. He did not remember telling anyone he had a child. Ethan forced his voice calm. Don't talk about my kid. The collector shrugged. Then don't make this harder. Two more figures stepped out from the shadows behind the collector, both armored, both holding scan wands. The wands lit up with a thin blue glow. Myra's neckmark pulsed hard, bright for a second. The hunter scan wands beeped. The collector's eyes sharpened. There. Yes, that's them. Raka whispered, raw and desperate. Run. Ethan's brain snapped into action. He did not have speed. He did not have weapons. He had environment. Ethan grabbed a small scrap canister from the alley wall, an old fuel cell casing, then threw it hard at a pipe joint above the collector's head. The casing struck the pipe with a loud clang. Steam exploded out in a white cloud, hissing and screaming. The collector cursed and stepped back. Ethan grabbed Myra's hand. Now! They ran through the steam cloud, coughing. Ethan pulled Myra along and half-supported Raka when she stumbled. He aimed toward the repair hangars where machines and workers created noise and cover. Behind them, the collector's voice cut through the steam. After them. Footsteps thundered. Ethan saw an open hangar door ahead. Inside, a crew was working on a small shuttle, its side panels off, wires exposed. Ethan shouted, "Move! Gas leak!" Workers jumped back, swearing. Ethan dragged the sisters inside and slammed the door control. The heavy hangar door began to slide shut. But one hunter sprinted forward and shoved an arm into the gap. The door stopped, grinding. The hunter's helmet turned toward Ethan. The scan wand lifted. Blue light washed over the sisters. The wand beeped loud. Then the hunter's wrist screen flashed words in bright red. Ancient Vault signature. Confirmed. The hunter's body went still for half a second. Then he laughed. A short, excited sound. Ethan's blood turned cold. The hunter spoke into his comm. Target confirmed. Vault signature is real. Repeat, real. Raka's face drained. No. The collector stepped into view again, steam rolling off his coat. He looked pleased, like a man watching a fish finally take the hook. He raised his hand, and two more hunters appeared behind him, weapons ready. The hangar door was still stuck on the first hunter's arm. Workers backed away in fear, not understanding what they had walked into. Ethan stood in front of the sisters, shoulders squared, even though he knew he could not win a gunfight. He did not move. He did not beg. He spoke in a steady voice, the same voice a dad used when danger came too close. You're not taking them. The collector's eyes were flat. We are. The first hunter shoved the door wider and stepped in. In one smooth motion, he grabbed Ethan's collar and slammed him against the shuttle frame. Pain shot through Ethan's back. His breath left him. The hunter pressed the scan wand against Ethan's chest, then against Raka's neck wrap, then Myra's. Beep, beep, beep. The hunter smiled. Human protector confirmed too. Boss will like that. Ethan forced his voice out through the pain. Why do you need me? The collector's smile returned, slow and sharp. Because the Vault system listens to humans. Raka's eyes went wide. No. The collector stepped closer, voice soft, almost kind. Come with us, human, or we take them and leave you to die. Ethan looked at Raka and Myra. Myra's eyes begged him not to go. Raka's face was filled with fear and fury, like she wanted to fight the universe. Ethan made a choice in one quiet second. He lifted his hand slowly, not surrendering, but buying time. "Fine," he said, voice low. "I'll come." Raka shook her head hard. "No." Ethan glanced back at her, eyes steady. "Stay behind me. Both of you." The collector nodded to his hunters. "Good." The hunter tightened his grip on Ethan's collar and pulled him forward. And as Ethan stumbled, he caught a glimpse of the hangar's open shuttle console. A small screen blinked with a maintenance menu. Ethan's mind grabbed it like a lifeline, because if he had to go with them, he would not go empty-handed. He would go with a plan. The hunters forced him out of the hangar and into the alley again. The port lights above flickered once, as if the whole station had just taken a nervous breath. The collector leaned close to Ethan's ear and whispered one last line, quiet enough that only Ethan could hear it. "You saved them, human dad." Then the collector smiled, cold and sure. "And now you will open the door for us." Ethan walked because he had to. A hunter's hand gripped his jacket collar like a leash. Another hunter stayed behind Raka and Myra, close enough that they could feel his breath through his helmet vents. The sisters moved stiffly, heads down, hoods pulled forward. Myra's steps were small and shaky. Raka limped but refused to slow. The collector led them through Port Kestrel like he owned it. He did not rush. That scared Ethan more than speed. A man who rushed could be scared. A man who walked slow in a busy port was a man who knew the world would bend for him. They passed a checkpoint. The guard looked at the collector, then looked away. No questions. No scan. Ethan's stomach tightened. They paid the right people. He thought, "Oh, they are the right people." The collector glanced back with a small smile, as if he had read Ethan's mind. "Don't worry," he said. "We won't hurt them. Not yet." Raka's shoulders tensed. Myra made a small sound like a trapped animal. Ethan kept his face calm. He did not answer. He saved his breath for thinking, because thinking was the only weapon he had. As they moved deeper into the port, Ethan watched everything. Doors, cameras, pods. He counted turns. He listened for shifts in the crowd. He looked for small chances. He had promised himself one thing when his kid was born. If danger ever came, he would not freeze. So he did not freeze now. They reached a private hangar bay hidden behind a cargo wall. The door was sealed with a high-grade lock. The collector placed his hand on a scanner pad. The door opened with a smooth hiss. Inside waited a ship that did not belong in a poor port like Kestrel. It was black and clean, with sharp edges and no public ID markings. Its hull drank the light. A quiet machine built for speed, not comfort. Ethan's throat went dry. The collector turned to Ethan. "Welcome." Ethan forced a neutral tone. "Where are you taking us?" "Home," the collector said lightly. "Or close enough." One hunter shoved Ethan forward. Ethan stumbled but kept his feet. He moved toward the ship's ramp. He did not fight. He did not shout. He did not give them a reason to hit the sisters. Raka's eyes stayed on Ethan. Anger and fear burned in them. Myra looked half awake, like she was walking through bad dream fog. Inside the ship, the air was cold and smelled like clean metal. The corridor walls were smooth, with no signs, no comforts. The hunter pushed them into a small cabin and locked the door. A minute later, the ship moved. Ethan felt the hum of engines through the floor. They were leaving Port Kestrel. Ethan sat slowly against the wall. He kept his hands open and visible. He looked at the sisters. Raka stood, back to the door, as if she would fight it with her body if needed. Myra sat on the floor, arms around her knees. Her neck wrap glowed faintly under the fabric, a low pulse like a heartbeat. Ethan spoke softly. "Myra, breathe slow." Myra blinked and tried. The glow dimmed a little. Raka's voice came out sharp. "Why did you say you will come?" Ethan met her eyes. "Because if I didn't, they would hurt you, or kill someone else to make you obey." Raka swallowed. Her anger did not go away, but it shifted. It became something heavier. Myra whispered. "They said, human can open." Ethan nodded once. "Yeah, I heard." Raka's jaw clenched. "How? Why?" Ethan rubbed his hands together, thinking, "I don't know, but we'll find out, and we will not give them what they want." Raka gave a bitter laugh. You think you choose. Ethan looked at her carefully. Yes. Raka stared like she didn't understand that kind of stubborn. Ethan continued, calm and simple. I can't outfight them, but I can outthink them. I can wait for the right moment. Myra's eyes lifted to him, small hope in them. Dad, plan? Ethan nodded. Dad, plan. Raka flinched at the word dad, but she didn't correct Myra. The ship's comm system crackled to life. The collector's voice came through a speaker in the cabin. Human, sisters, we arrive soon. When we land, you will behave. No screaming. No tricks. If you try anything, the port has already forgotten you. No one will come. Ethan listened, face still. Then he answered only 2 words. I understand. The collector chuckled. Good. The speaker went silent. Raka's hand shook. She hid them by folding her arms tight. It is my fault, she said, voice low. Ethan shook his head. No. Raka stared at the floor. We ran. We stole. We brought death behind us. Ethan's voice was firm. You brought a chance. You brought escape. The pirates brought death. Myra whispered, almost too soft to hear. They used us. Ethan's chest tightened. Not anymore. The ship slowed after some time. Ethan felt the shift in motion, the soft drag of landing systems. A dull thump followed. They had landed. The cabin door unlocked with a sharp click. 2 hunters entered in motion with their weapons. Move! Ethan stood first. He stepped between the sisters and the hunters without thinking. It was instinct now. They guided them down a ramp into cold air. Not a city. Not a port. A dead place. A gray moon surface stretched out, broken by black stone ridges. The sky above was empty and dark, and the ground was covered in fine dust that looked like ash. In the distance, a structure rose from the rock like a buried tooth. A huge door set into the side of a cliff. It was not metal like human ships. It was smooth black stone, but not natural stone. It had lines carved into it, thin groove that formed patterns like language. Ethan felt a strange pressure in his ears, like the air wanted to turn into sound but couldn't. Raka stopped walking. Myra stopped too. Both sisters stared at the door like they were looking at a monster from a story. Myra whispered, The vault. Raka's voice was tight. The sleeping door. The collector stepped ahead of them, hand behind his back, smiling like a man seeing a prize. Around him, more hunters moved out of the ship and formed a loose ring. They carried portable lights and scan gear. They looked excited. This, the collector said, is why you were born. Raka's face twisted. We were not born for you. The collector's smile didn't change. Everything is born for something. Ethan's jaw clenched. The collector turned to Ethan. Human, you will walk with them. You will speak if the system speaks. If you refuse, the sisters suffer. Ethan looked at the sisters. Myra's eyes were wet. Raka's lips were pressed into a thin line, like she was holding back a scream. Ethan took a slow breath. Okay. He stepped forward with them. They crossed the ash-dust ground toward the vault door. The closer they got, the stronger the strange pressure became. Ethan felt it in his teeth, in his bones. The grooves on the door began to glow faintly, as if the stone recognized something. Myra's neck mark pulsed brighter under her wrap. Raka's mark did the same. Ethan watched them and felt cold fear. They really were keys. The collector lifted a handheld scanner and waved it over the door. The screen flashed green. Active, he said, voice hungry. Wake up. Raka's breathing turned fast. Myra grabbed Ethan's sleeve. Ethan spoke softly to Myra without looking away from the door. Stay close. Breathe. Myra tried. The glow steadied. They reached the door's center, where a smooth circle sat like an eye. The circle lit up. A sound came, low, deep, and not like any human machine. It was not words at first. It was a vibration that made Ethan's chest feel heavy. Then it became language. A voice, calm and cold, spoke from inside the stone. Signature detected. The collector's smile widened. He leaned in like a child hearing a story. The voice continued. Keys present. Raka's hands went to her neck wrap. Myra's whole body shook. Ethan swallowed. He forced his voice steady. We're here. The voice paused, like it was listening. Then it said something that made Ethan's skin crawl. Human presence confirmed. The collector's eyes snapped to Ethan, bright with victory. Ethan felt a cold knot form in his stomach. The voice spoke again, clearer now, as if it had decided the conversation mattered. Access requires choice. The grooves on the door brightened. The circle in the center opened like a pupil. A thin seam appeared across the door, like a mouth about to speak again. The collector breathed, almost laughing. Yes, yes. Raka whispered, voice raw. No, please. Myra clutched Ethan's sleeve harder. Dad! Ethan stared at the door, heart hammering. Then the voice delivered the next line, slow and final, like a rule written in stone. Choose, release or seal. The door seam widened a little. Cold air flowed out from inside, air that smelled ancient and dry, like dust that had never seen light. The collector stepped forward fast. Release, he said. But the voice did not respond to him. It did not even acknowledge him. Instead, the circle turned, like an eye locking onto the only person it cared about. Ethan, human, state intent. Ethan felt every hunter's gaze slam onto him. He felt the sisters trembling at his sides. He understood then. The collector was wrong about one thing. The vault did not listen to money. It did not listen to guns. It listened to the human. And Ethan had to speak. Raka's voice shook as she leaned close, whispering into Ethan's ear like a warning. If you open, worlds die. Myra whispered, tears falling. If you seal, they hurt us. Ethan's mind raced. His chest tightened. His hands turned cold. He looked at the dark seam in the door and realized the truth of the moment. This vault was not a treasure chest. It was a cage, and someone was asking him to choose what stayed locked inside. The seam widened another inch. Inside the darkness, something moved. Just a hint, just a shadow shift, like a giant thing turning in sleep. The collector's voice became sharp. Say it, human. Ethan swallowed and took one slow step forward. He opened his mouth to speak. And behind him, Myra's neckmark flared suddenly, bright and wild. Myra gasped. Her knees buckled. Raka caught her, eyes wide with panic. The vault voice changed, still calm, but now alert. Lock failure risk. The collector's hunters raised their weapons. Ethan's heart slammed. Whatever was inside, it was waking. And he had only seconds to choose the right words before the wrong people took control of the door forever. The seam in the vault door held for a moment, like a jaw frozen halfway open. Cold air rolled out in slow waves. It felt wrong on Ethan's skin, even through his suit jacket. It was not the cold of space. It was the cold of something that had been asleep for too long. Myra's neckmark flashed again under her wrap. The light was not steady now. It jumped, like a signal trying to scream. Myra gasped and grabbed Raka's arm. It's pulling. Raka's face tightened with pain and fear. Stay with me. The collector stepped close, eyes shining. Human, he said. Say the word. Release. Ethan did not answer. He stared at the door, at the glowing lines, at the circle eye that had turned only toward him. He heard the hunters shift behind him, weapons clicking. Ready. Then the vault voice spoke again, calm and heavy. Human, stayed intent. Ethan took a slow breath and forced his voice steady. He did not speak like a man begging. He spoke like a dad setting a rule. My intent is to keep people safe, Ethan said. The collector laughed once. That's not a command. The vault did not answer the collector. It answered Ethan. Define, safe. Ethan swallowed. Words mattered here. He could feel it. This system was old and strict. It did not care about emotion. It cared about meaning. Safe means, Ethan said slowly, no one gets his power to hurt others. Raka's eyes snapped to him, surprised. Myra's breathing slowed for a second, like hope had touched her. The collector's smile dropped. No, he said sharply. Wrong. He lifted his hand. One hunter moved forward, pressing a weapon barrel into Ethan's side. Say release, the collector ordered, or the sisters die now. Myra made a small choking sound. Raka's hands clenched. Her tusk showed. She looked ready to jump, even if it meant death. Ethan kept his gaze on the vault eye. He did not look at the gun. He did not look at the collector. He spoke to the system, not to the man. "My intent is to seal," Ethan said. The collector's face twisted with anger. "Shoot him." The hunter hesitated, not because he cared about Ethan, but because the vault lines had brightened the moment Ethan spoke. The ground under their feet vibrated softly, like the vault was waking to listen. The vault voice came again, louder now, carrying through the dust and stone. Seal requested. Confirm conditions. A new pattern lit up on the door. 3 symbols, simple shapes that felt like rules. Ethan's wrist screen flickered. The vault was interfacing with his basic tech without permission. Text appeared in plain trade language, as if the vault had learned it long ago. Seal conditions. Remove hostile presence. Stabilize keys. Anchor life signature for 60 seconds. Ethan's stomach dropped at the last line. The collector saw the shift on Ethan's screen and smiled again, cold. Anchor life signature, he repeated. That sounds like you will die for them. Ethan did not answer. Raka read the fear on Ethan's face. What does it mean? She demanded. Ethan spoke quietly, honest. It means the vault needs someone alive to hold the seal while it closes. Myra's eyes went wide. Dad, no. The collector's voice became sharp and excited. Good. Then you will do it. Or you will open it. Either way, I win. He snapped his fingers. The hunters moved. 2 hunters grabbed Raka's arms. Another yanked Myra away from her. Myra screamed once, loud and raw. Raka exploded with rage. She swung her elbow hard into a hunter's chest. The hunter stumbled back, but another hunter slammed the butt of his weapon into Raka's shoulder. Raka fell to one knee, gasping. Myra fought too, kicking and twisting, but she was weak. The glow under her wrap flared bright, and she cried out like the mark was burning her. Ethan's blood turned to fire. He moved without thinking. He grabbed a loose cable from the ground, one of the collector's own scan lines, and wrapped it around the nearest hunter's wrist. He yanked hard. The hunter's weapon dropped. Ethan drove his shoulder into the hunter's chest and sent him into the dust. He was not strong like an orc. He was not trained like a soldier. But he was desperate, and he used what he had. The collector stepped back, surprised. Ethan shouted, Raka, Myra, on me. Raka pushed up, teeth bared. She grabbed Myra's hand as Myra stumbled free for a second. Hunters raised their weapons. Ethan's mind snapped into plan mode. Fast, sharp, simple. He pointed at the vault door seam. Inside the shadow. Now. They sprinted toward the door. The seam was still open a little, just enough. Cold air hit them like a wall. The collector yelled, stopped them. Gunfire cracked. Short bursts. Dust exploded around Ethan's feet. Ethan shoved the sisters forward, using his body as a shield. A shot grazed his arm. Pain fled, hot and bright. He did not stop. They slipped into the seam. The world changed instantly. Inside, the vault was not a room. It was a throat of black stone and faint blue light, a tunnel that curved downward. The walls were smooth, covered in the same thin grooves, like veins. The sound of the outside world became distant. The air was dry and heavy, as if it had been waiting for a long time to be breathed. Behind them, the collector shouted from outside, voice echoing through the opening. Get in there. Don't let them seal it. Hunters pawed into the seam after them. The vault voice spoke again, inside the tunnel, louder and closer, like it was speaking from the walls. Hostiles detected. Ethan's wrist screen flashed a new option. Purge hostiles? Yes or no? Ethan's heart hammered. If he pressed yes, the vault would kill them. Hunters. Maybe the collector too. Ethan did not know how. He did not know if it would also hurt Raka and Myra. He did not know if the vault could be trusted. But he did know this. If he did nothing, the collector would take the sisters and open the vault. Ethan swallowed hard. Raka's voice shook. Human, what is it asking? Ethan looked at her. He saw her fear. He saw Myra's tears. He saw 2 kids who had been used as tools. He made his decision. No one touches him again, Ethan said. He tapped yes. The vault reacted instantly. The grooves in the tunnel lit bright. The stone hummed. A low vibration rolled through the floor like thunder. Behind them, the first hunter stepped into the tunnel and froze. A thin line of light crossed his armor from head to toe. Not a laser burn, not heat, a scan. Then the Vault voice spoke, cold and final. Hostile, disarm. The hunter's weapon dissolved into dust in his hands. Metal became powder, falling like gray snow. The hunter shouted in panic. More hunters pushed forward, trying to retreat, but the tunnel was narrow now. They collided, trapped in their own crowd. The collector's angry voice echoed from outside. Move! Move! The Vault voice did not care. Hostile, neutralize. The lights flared. The air seemed to tighten. Ethan felt it like pressure on his skin, like the Vault was squeezing the space itself. The hunter screamed. Not long, not slow. Short sounds of shock and fear. Then silence. Ethan's stomach twisted. He did not like killing. He hated it. But he had chosen it because the alternative was worse. Raka stared back toward the entrance, breathing hard. Her face was pale under the dim blue light. It killed them. Ethan's voice was rough. It stopped them. Myra clung to Ethan's sleeve. Are we bad now? Ethan turned to her. He crouched to her level, ignoring the pain in his arm. He made his voice soft. No, he said. You are alive. That matters. The Vault voice spoke again, as if it had finished one task and moved to the next. Keys unstable. Stabilize required. Myra's mark pulsed. Raka's mark pulsed too. The tunnel lights flickered, and Ethan felt a slow pull in his chest, like the Vault was reaching toward their life signs. Raka's eyes went wide. It is waking more. Ethan nodded. Then we do the seal. Now. They moved deeper. The tunnel opened into a wide chamber. In the center stood a black stone pillar, shaped like a tall finger pointing upward. Grooves covered it, glowing faintly. A circular platform surrounded the pillar. Symbols lit up along the edge, matching the ones Ethan had seen outside. Ethan stepped onto the platform. The Vault voice came from everywhere. Seal process ready. Anchor required, 60 seconds. Ethan's wrist screen showed a simple choice. Select Anchor Life Signature. The system already highlighted him in blue. Raka's breathing went fast. It will take you. Myra's eyes filled with terror. Dad, no. Ethan looked at them both. He wanted to say something big, something brave, but big words were not his style. He had always been a simple man who kept promises. So he said the simplest truth. If I don't do this, Ethan said, they will come again. More pirates. More hunters. You will never be safe. Raka's jaw trembled. We can be Anchor. Ethan shook his head. You are the keys. The Vault needs you alive to stay sealed. Myra whispered, but you have child. The words hit Ethan like a blade. Yes, he had a child. A small face waiting at home. A voice calling him Dad. A future that needed him. Ethan's throat tightened. For a second, he almost broke. Then he remembered why he had come into the dead zone at all. Because he could not leave kids to die. He looked at Myra and Raka and forced his voice steady. My kid would want me to do the right thing, Ethan said. Even if it hurts. Raka's eyes watered, but she fought it. Myra shook her head hard, tears falling. No, please. Ethan reached out and touched Myra's shoulder gently. Stay behind me. Then he stepped to the center of the platform and placed his hand on the black stone pillar. The pillar was cold, so cold it felt like it was drinking heat from his skin. The grooves on it lit up bright, and the whole chamber hummed. The Vault voice spoke, calm as death. Anchor accepted. Countdown, 60. A number appeared in Ethan's vision on his wrist screen. 60, 59, 58. Ethan's chest tightened. His breath became heavy. It felt like invisible hands were pulling on him from the inside. Not pain like a wound. Pain like being drained. Raka grabbed his arm. Stop. It will kill you. Ethan shook his head, teeth clenched. Hold them steady. Myra clung to him, sobbing. Dad! Ethan tried to smile, but it came out tired and weak. It's okay, he whispered. Just count with me. The numbers dropped. 45, 44, 43. Ethan's knees shook. He forced himself to stand. 35, 34, 33. The chamber lights flickered. The pillar grew brighter. The vault was sealing, and Ethan could feel it closing like a giant lock turning. 25, 24, 23. Ethan's vision blurred at the edges. Raka's face was close now, panicked. Myra's hands held his jacket like she could keep him alive by force. 15, 14, 13. Ethan's breathing turned shallow. His heart pounded like it was trying to escape his ribs. 10, 9, 8. The pull became stronger. Ethan's leg buckled. He dropped to one knee, hand still pressed to the pillar. Raka screamed. Roar. No. 5, 4, 3. Ethan's mouth opened, but no words came out. 2. Ethan's head dipped forward. 1. The chamber exploded with light, and Ethan collapsed, still touching the pillar, as a vault door began to close forever. While Raka and Myra screamed his name into the cold blue glow, the blue light in the chamber pulsed like a dying star. Ethan lay on the stone floor, one hand still touching the black pillar. His chest barely moved. His face was pale. His eyes were half open but unfocused, like he was looking through the world instead of at it. Raka dropped beside him fast. Her hand shook as she tried to pull his arm away from the pillar, but the pillar held him like a magnet. No! Raka shouted, voice rough and broken. Let him go. The vault did not answer her. It did not look at her. It did not care. Myra fell to her knees on Ethan's other side. Tears ran down her face. Her small hands grabbed Ethan's jacket, then his wrist, then his fingers, like she was trying to remind his body how to hold on. Dad! Dad! Wake up! Myra whispered. The number on Ethan's wrist screen was gone. The seal countdown had ended, but Ethan was still falling away. Raka looked up at the chamber walls, at the glowing grooves, at the cold blue light that now felt like a closed eye. Rage burned in her face. You took him, she said through clenched teeth. He did what you asked. The vault voice spoke at last, calm and final. Seal completed. Anchor life signature, depleted. Myra made a small sound like she couldn't breathe. Raka's eyes went wide with horror. Depleted, she repeated. It means dead. Myra shook her head hard. No, no, no. Ethan's lips moved, almost silent. A breath came out, thin and weak. Raka saw it. She froze. He's not gone yet, Raka said, voice shaking. Myra leaned closer, pressing her in near Ethan's mouth. She heard it too, one more breath, like a candle fighting wind. Raka's jaw tightened. She looked at Myra, then at Ethan, then at her own hands. Then she did something she had not done since the day they escaped the pirate ship. She made a choice. Raka reached up and slowly pulled down her neck wrap. The glow under her skin was clear now, thin lines, like a living symbol, pulsing with light. It looked like a mark, but it was also a machine. It moved like it had its own heartbeat. Myra stared at her sister, shocked. Raka, no. Raka's voice came out low. We promised. Never show. Myra's hands trembled. She touched her own neck wrap. Raka looked at Ethan's face. He saved us. Myra whispered, he will die. Raka nodded. Her eyes burned with pain. Then we pay. Myra shook her head again, crying harder. We cannot. It will. It will shorten us, Raka finished. Her voice cracked. Yes. Myra covered her mouth, sobbing. That is why we hide it. Ethan's chest rose a little, then fell. His skin was cold. Raka placed 2 fingers on Ethan's neck, feeling his pulse. It was there, but weak, fading. Raka looked at Myra, eyes sharp and wet. Do you trust him? Myra answered without thinking. Yes. Raka swallowed hard. Then do it. Myra's hand shook as she pulled her neck wrap down. Her mark glowed brighter than Raka's, like it was more awake, more sensitive. The vault voice did not speak. It watched in silence. Raka moved close to Myra and grabbed her hand. Together. Myra nodded, crying. Together. Raka and Myra pressed their marked necks close, skin to skin for a moment. Then both marks pulsed at the same time. A thin line of light jumped between them, like a bridge. Ethan's wrist screen flickered. New text flashed, not from Ethan's device, but from the vault itself, like it was reading what the sisters were doing. Life link detected. Unauthorized transfer. Raka growled, voice full of anger. Shut up. Myra's eyes squeezed shut. Please, work. The marks flared bright, then dimmed, then flared again in a steady rhythm. Raka placed her palm on Ethan's chest. Myra placed her palm on Ethan's forehead. Then they both spoke, simple words Ethan could not understand, but the meaning was clear in their voices. Take it. Take ours. Give him breath. Ethan's body jerked slightly. A stronger breath pulled into his lungs. Myra gasped in relief, then cried again. He breathed. Raka's shoulders sagged like someone had cut a rope inside her. The marks on their necks dimmed, but the light did not disappear. It had changed. It looked thinner now, weaker, like a lamp turned down. Raka swayed on her knees. Myra swayed too. Both sisters looked suddenly exhausted, like their bones had become heavy stones. Raka clenched her jaw and forced herself to stay upright. Again, she whispered. Myra shook her head weakly. It hurts. Raka's voice was firm. One more, or he won't hold. Myra swallowed hard and nodded. They did it again. Light pulsed. Ethan's eyes fluttered. His fingers moved. His chest rose, deeper this time. Then Ethan coughed, a harsh, painful sound, but alive. Myra let out a broken laugh through tears. Dad! Raka leaned close, breath shaking. Human, wake up, please. Ethan's eyes opened slowly. For a moment, he looked confused, like he did not know where he was. Then his gaze found two faces above him. Green-gray skin. Taze. Fear. Love. Ethan swallowed, throat dry. Myra. Raka. Myra grabbed his hand with both of hers. You're here. You're here. Ethan tried to sit up, but his body felt heavy. He winced. The vault. Raka nodded, voice rough. Sealed. Ethan's eyes drifted upward to the glowing walls. Good. He looked back at them, his brow furrowed. What did you do? Myra's eyes dropped. Raka hesitated. She did not want to speak the truth. She had hidden it for so long it felt like part of her skin. But Ethan's face was calm, not demanding, not angry, just caring. So Raka said it. We have a life link, she whispered. We can share life. We can give for a short time. Myra added, voice small, it costs us. Ethan's eyes softened with understanding and pain. That's what you were hiding. Raka nodded once. Yes. Ethan tried to pull his hand away from the pillar, and this time it let him go. He sat up slowly, breathing hard. Raka and Myra both looked weaker now. Their eyes were tired. Their shoulders were low. But they were still here. Ethan's voice came out quiet. You shouldn't have done that. Myra shook her head. You saved us. Twice. Raka's jaw tightened. You treated us like people, not tools. Ethan's throat tightened. He looked away for a second, fighting emotion, then looked back. A family is not blood, Ethan said softly. It's choice. Myra's lip trembled. Family. Raka swallowed hard. She wanted to reject the word. It felt dangerous. Words like that could hurt you later. But the truth was already inside her. She whispered, family. The vault voice spoke again, colder now, like a final report. Seal stable. Hostiles removed. Exit path open. A side passage lit up in faint blue. Ethan stood slowly, supporting himself on the wall. He glanced at the sisters. Can you walk? Raka nodded, though her legs shook. Myra nodded too, wiping tears. They moved toward the exit passage. The tunnel led upward, twisting through black stone until it opened to the surface again. Outside, the ash dust wind was light. The vault door behind them was now a single smooth wall, no seam, no glow, like it had never opened at all. The collector's ship was still there, but it was quiet now. No hunters stood around it. No voices. Only empty dust and silent metal. Ethan stared at the ship, then at the ground where the hunters had stood. He felt sick in his stomach, but also certain. Those men would have hurt the sisters again. They would have hurt many. He took a slow breath and looked at Raka and Myra. We need to leave this moon. Myra nodded. Yes. Raka's eyes narrowed. They will come again. Ethan's gaze hardened. Then we don't stay where they can trap us. They walked toward the ship. Ethan expected alarms, traps, something. But the ship's systems were still on, like the crew had abandoned it in panic. Ethan climbed into the cockpit and checked the nav logs. A set of coordinates was saved. Not just one. Many. Like someone had been searching for more vaults. Ethan's hands tightened on the console. This wasn't the only one. Raka's face went pale. More sleeping doors. Myra whispered, more keys. Ethan's mind raced, but he pushed it down, one fire at a time. He started the engines. The ship lifted off the dead moon with a low roar. As they broke into open space, Ethan's console beeped. A message arrived on a private channel. No sender ID. Just text. Ethan's eyes narrowed as he read it. Human Protector identified. Vault sealed. You are now a target. Myra's voice shook. Who sent it? Ethan stared at the message, then looked at the sisters. He thought of his child at home. He thought of the dead zone. He thought of the vault listening to his voice like it had been waiting. Ethan took a slow breath and turned the ship toward deep space. Then he spoke one simple line, steady and real. We stay together, Ethan said, and we get ready. Raka and Myra sat behind him in silence. Both were scared. Both were tired. But for the first time, they were not alone. And somewhere in the dark, beyond the stars, something had noticed a human dad who refused to walk away.